quickly turn to Venezuela, where Maduro once again demonstrated his complete disregard for democratic norms and proceeded with his illegitimate inauguration. As President Biden emphasized during his meeting with President-elect Edmundo Gonzalez Urrutia on Monday, January 6, we believe that it is essential that the will of the Venezuelan people is respected. In coordination with our partners, we've given Maduro and his representatives every opportunity to restore democracy, but they haven't. So today we are building on all of our previous actions and taking further major actions. We announced new sanctions on key Maduro-aligned officials as a part of our efforts to hold them accountable, and we imposed more visa restrictions totaling nearly 2,000 individuals. We also increased the reward amount to $25 million for Nicolas Maduro and his so-called Minister of Interior as part of the Department of State's Narcotics Rewards program, only the second and third to have the largest amount allowed. It is important to note that we are taking these actions alongside similar actions taken by Canada, the European Union, the United Kingdom to demonstrate a message of solidarity with the Venezuelan people and further elevate international efforts to maintain pressure on Maduro and his representatives. Today, Maduro finds himself more alone than ever, with few friends in the region and in the world and around the world. And before I get to your question, just one more thing. I did want to highlight some good news we received this morning. The final jobs report for the Biden-Harris administration was released today, and a remarkable 250,000 jobs were created last month, defying expectations. Additionally, the unemployment rate ticked down to a low of 4.1%. This is the only administration to gain jobs every month. We had 0 months with job losses. This was no accident. President Biden's administration has delivered the strongest recovery in the world and laid a strong foundation for years to come by investing in America, empowering workers and unions, lowering costs, and supporting small businesses. Over 16.6 million jobs created, the lowest average unemployment rate of any administration in 50 years. Record high employment rates for working age women, and lowest black-white unemployment gap on record. Inflation down faster than almost any other advanced economy, and incomes up almost $4,000. And again, this was no accident. This is because of the president's leadership. And as the president said, our nation faces an inflection point. Do we continue to grow the economy from the middle out and bottom up, or do we backslide to trickle down economics? And that is a question that we have to ask. In the meantime, we'll continue with this briefing. Go ahead.
Thanks, Karine. First off, yesterday the Senate advanced the Lincoln-Riley Act, which passed the House. If it's presented to him before he leaves office on the 20th, would the president sign that bill or veto it?
So I'm not going to get ahead of what's happening. I know there was a procedural vote that happened in the Senate. I'm going to let the process play out. Let the senators do their work on that. I don't want to get ahead of that. So we're going to let it play out. I'm not going to get into a hypothetical on this right now.
The administration also often puts out statements of administration policy. What stands that you're not putting one out here?
Well, the process is still playing out, and so we're going to certainly follow all of the latest developments on this, and so we want to evaluate the bill. We haven't done that yet. We want to evaluate the bill certainly at the end of that process, and then we will have more to say. I just don't want to get ahead of it right now.
And the president of the Oval said he'd be speaking to us later today about Russia and some other issues. Is that going to happen?
So we'll have more to share with all of you on what the president's going to be speaking on. Certainly we'll share that shortly.
He'll be speaking today?
That's what the president said, and that's what we're working out.
And then lastly, it's customary for presidents often to leave office with a final press conference. Does the president, does he plan to schedule one for his final week in office?
So I don't have anything to preview right now at this moment. As you know, as you just mentioned, the president took questions today. He took questions yesterday. He's going to certainly continue to engage with all of you by taking your questions, as he's done multiple times recently. I don't have anything to preview about a press conference. Go ahead, Mary.
Do you or does the administration have any response to Donald Trump's sentencing earlier today?
So, look, we're going to focus, as one of the reasons we had Administrator Criswell in the room, as you all know, and you guys have done a very good job, certainly some of your colleagues who are out there on the ground, covering this disastrous, catastrophic fire. And so the President wants to continue to focus on that. That's what we want to continue to focus on. We're not focused on what occurred today, certainly with the court decision. We are, and we've been saying this, I know it's probably ad nauseum, we've been saying this, that we are running through the tape, and I think we have proven that almost every day. Certainly in 2025, we've been pretty busy, and so that's going to be our focus. What can we do to continue to deliver for the American people? What can we do to make the lives of the American people better? And that is our focus. Not going to speak to the decisions made in the court today.
Two questions, Karine. One on Meta. Meta made a decision this week about doing away with its fact-checking for Facebook and its other platforms. Does the White House have a reaction to that?
So we've been pretty consistent here over the last 4 years. When any corporation or company makes a decision, a private company, to be more specific, makes a decision, we just are not going to comment. So I'm not going to comment on this. And so just going to leave it in that realm. But look, social media, I'll say this, social media companies make their own rules about content moderation. But with that said, we have been outspoken about our belief that the social media companies have an important role to play in enforcing their own rules to prevent the spread of misinformation. That is a responsibility that company has, and we've always been pretty clear about that. But speaking specifically to an announcement, we're just not going to comment on that.
I understand, but that is something that you guys have been outspoken about, and they're making a change on it. So I guess it's something I thought maybe you would want to comment on.
I mean, look, we talk about social media companies having a responsibility. We've always said that. We've all been really clear about that. We've also been clear that policy decisions that are made by private companies, we're not going to speak to those specific in announcement, but we can speak broadly on our belief and how we see their responsibility. And that's as far as that we've always gone, and we're not going to go beyond that.
Just briefly on another topic with regard to the Russia sanctions that were announced today. Does the President, does the White House have any concern that could lead to an increase in gas prices for consumers?
So look, we took aim today in your question at Russia's largest resources of revenue and imposed significant sanctions on the Russian energy sector. These sanctions certainly target both Russian oil and LNG, and we expect our actions to cost Russia upwards to billions of dollars per month. And so that's important to note as well. And these also, let's not forget that these are also, these sanctions really continue for us to make good on the commitment that we made, that the President made, and his G7 counterparts made to target Russia's ability to use its energy sector to fund and sustain this war. We've talked about this for some time, and so now the President certainly made good on that commitment. So it's not just us. Obviously, we joined these actions with the UK, which imposed significant and complementary actions of its own. And so I think it is important to note that, by taking these significant actions against Russia, oil markets are in fundamentally better place. That's number one. And number two, the U.S. economy is a fundamentally better place as well. And so that's why we took this action now. This is a commitment that the President wanted to uphold, not just the President, but also the G7, his G7 counterparts, and that's what you're seeing right now.
But my question was whether you're concerned that it will lead to an increase in gas prices.
I mean, look, I've said, look, one of the things that we expect and we believe is that the supply of energy is going to exceed global demand through this year, with ample capacity within the outside of OPEC Plus to increase production if necessary. So since the start of Russia's war, benchmark oil prices have fallen almost $35 per barrel, and average U.S. gasoline prices have dropped from roughly $4 to just $3 per gallon. That's because of the actions that this President has taken. And so that is what we want want to continue to see, and so that's what we also think will continue to be. Like the gas prices, we believe the gas prices will continue to be where it is and continue to go down because of the actions that the president's taken.